Hey everyone, Ibrahim Karim here, and let's talk about letters of credit. You know, that thing that sounds way more complicated than it actually is. We've all been there, right? Trying to navigate the world of international trade, feeling like you need a PhD in finance just to understand the basics. But what if I told you that letters of credit are actually pretty straightforward? Welcome to our comprehensive guide on the letter of credit process. Today we'll walk you through each step to help you understand how this financial instrument works. Whether you're an entrepreneur looking to import goods, an artist selling your work overseas, or just someone who wants to level up their financial literacy, this video is for you. We'll break down the jargon, give you real-world examples, and by the end of this video, you'll be able to confidently navigate the world of letters of credit like a pro. So, grab your coffee, smash that like button, and let's dive in. First things first, we've got our buyer and seller, right? They're shaking hands, maybe virtually on a deal. Could be anything. Electronics, coffee beans, those little umbrellas for your fancy drinks, you name it. They hammer out the details, how much, when it's getting delivered, and here's the key, they agree to use a letter of credit for payment. This is like adding a reliable, trustworthy middleman to the mix. Why? Because it protects both sides. The buyer knows they only pay if the goods meet their exact specifications. The seller, they're guaranteed to get paid as long as they deliver on their promise. It's a win-win, especially when you're dealing with international transactions in different currencies. Minimizes risk for everyone involved. So the buyer, they go to their bank, right? They're like, hey, I need a letter of credit. Think of it like applying for a loan, but instead of getting cash, the bank is promising to pay the seller on the buyer's behalf. Once the seller proves they've held up their end of the bargain, of course, the buyer hands over all the details, the contract, how much needs to be paid, when, the works. Now, the bank isn't just going to hand out letters of credit like candy. They're going to do their due diligence. They look at the buyer's credit history, their financial stability, make sure they're not about to skip town with a shipping container full of those tiny umbrellas. The bank's happy with the buyer, everything checks out, boom, they issue the letter of credit. This isn't just some casual email, mind you. This is a legally binding document. It outlines everything. The amount when it expires, the specific documents the seller needs to provide as proof of delivery. This is like the golden ticket, the seller's guaranteed that they'll get paid. The bank sends this letter of credit over to the seller's bank. Yeah, there are usually two banks involved, one for the buyer, one for the seller. Adds another layer of security. Chapter 4. Eyes on the prize. The seller gets the letter of credit and they're checking it with a fine-tooth comb. Does everything match the agreement they made with the buyer? Dates, amounts, those tiny umbrella specifications, everything's got to be perfect. This is crucial. If something's off, even a small detail, the seller can go back to the buyer and say, hey, let's fix this before I ship anything. It protects them from any surprises down the line. Chapter 5. Time to ship. Letter of credit gets the green light. The seller springs into action. They pack up those goods, get them on a boat, plane, whatever mode of transport they agreed on. But it's not just about shipping the goods. Remember those documents the letter of credit demanded? The seller needs those too. Things like proof of shipment, insurance, maybe even a certificate of origin. These documents are key because they prove to the banks that the seller did their part of the deal. No documents, no money. Chapter 6. Show me the paperwork. The goods are on their way, and the seller gathers up all of those documents. Invoices, inspection certificates, the whole shebang. They take this stack of paperwork to their bank. The seller's bank checks everything carefully, making sure it matches the letter of credit to the letter. Think of them as the quality control department. Once they're satisfied, they send everything over to the buyer's bank, the one that issued the letter of credit in the first place. Remember the buyer's bank? They get the documents, and it's their turn to play detective. They're comparing everything to the letter of credit, dates, amounts, descriptions. They're making sure no one's pulling a fast one, that the documents are legit, and everything lines up perfectly. This is all about minimizing risk. They're protecting the buyer, making sure they're getting what they paid for, and they're protecting themselves from any potential losses. It's all about that due diligence. Chapter 8. Money in the bank. Drumroll, please. If the buyer's bank gives the thumbs up, everything's in order, they release the funds to the seller's bank. This is the moment of truth for the seller. They've done their part, jumped through all the hoops, and now they finally get paid. Depending on what they agreed to, the payment could be immediate, or it could be a deferred payment, meaning they get paid at a later date, maybe when the buyer receives the goods. Claim your prize. The buyer's bank isn't done yet. They send over the original shipping documents to the buyer. These are crucial because it lets the buyer claim the goods when they arrive at the port or airport. No documents, no tiny umbrellas. It's the final piece of the puzzle, ensuring a smooth handover from seller to buyer. Chapter 10. Mission accomplished. The buyer gets the goods, inspects them to make sure they're in good condition and match what they ordered. Everything checks out. Boom! Transaction complete. Everyone's happy. The letter of credit did its job. It facilitated a safe and secure transaction, protected both the buyer and the seller, and kept everyone honest. Outro, you've mastered letters of credit, and that's how a letter of credit works. This process ensures security and trust for both buyers and sellers, especially in international transactions. It might seem a little complicated at first, but when you break it down step by step, it's actually pretty logical. Think of it like this. The letter of credit is like a referee in a game. It sets the rules, makes sure everyone plays fair, and ensures that the game ends with a clear winner. In this case, both the buyer and the seller. If you have any questions or need more details, feel free to ask. Thanks for watching.